All right, so my name is Kate with Scott Leroy Marketing. Today I'm going to be going over with you guys campaigns. Now, within those campaigns, we're going to be taking a look at email campaigns specifically. So, how to create an email campaign within Command, and then how to send that through Command. So, that's what we're going to cover today. Um, Again, if you need to refer back to this video after class is over, check out that YouTube channel. Those are up there within 24 to 48 hours generally, and you can find those here. Moving along though, the first thing we want to do is we want to jump into Command. So if you're not familiar with Command, that's going to be agent.kw.com. Now from there, the first thing we want to take a look at for today's class is we want to take a look at the marketing profile in Command. If you're not familiar with email campaigns and you've never set them up before, you'll find that some information pulls automatically from that marketing profile. So super important to make sure it is up to date and everything is filled out that needs to be there. So for us to access our marketing profile, we're going to click the arrow, the little caret, next to our name in the top right corner of Command. And from there, we're going to go to Settings. Now, once we're in Settings, we're going to click on the Connect settings in the left-hand menu bar. And from there, we're going to take a look at this marketing profile. Now, I like to point out that there are a few different profiles within Command. This profile, as well as the referrals profile, the marketing profile. So lots of profiles. These profiles do not link up and sync and talk to each other, unfortunately. And this profile, the marketing profile, is the most important in my opinion. This profile is the one that feeds over information to your KW website, to your branded consumer app, as well as to the marketing items specifically for today's class, so email campaigns. So make sure this is up to date. You're going to want to make sure it is turned on and you have a green light over here. Moving down, you're going to want to make sure you have anything filled out that has this little red asterisk. And even some things that don't have that red asterisk, you're going to want to make sure you take note today. They're super important to have. So we'll go over those items. The first thing though is your photo. Now your photo is recommended to be 360 by 360 pixels. If you need help resizing that or adjusting that, you can reach out to our support email. I'll drop that in the chat. Our support email is just support@scottleroymarketing.com. We're happy to, again, resize any of those photos you may have. That 360 by 360 is important because if you don't have a perfectly square headshot, it may look distorted or stretched out in this box. It may also look that way on your website or different marketing. And in some cases, we see it kind of cut your head off or your chin, depending on your photo to make it a square. So super important to have that sizing correct. Now, next is your team logo. Now, if you're not on a team and you have not branded yourself as an individual solo agent, that's totally okay. However, we do recommend that you have something in this field. The reason for that being is for today's class specifically, the team logo is going to pull to your marketing and to the footer of the email campaigns, whether you have a logo here or not. So if you don't have an image here, it's going to appear as a broken image within your design. And I can show you what that looks like when we get there. But as an alternative, if you don't have your own logo, a team logo or something like that, you can have a generic Keller Williams logo here. We've also seen associates use a secondary headshot or even their same headshot and just put that here as well. So a couple of options there. Now next are the details. So these are your personal details, your first and last name. License number. This is one you'll see is not starred. The reason for that is because not all people that have access to Command are licensed associates. However, for some of the email campaign templates, if you are missing a license number, you are going to get an error. So make sure you have this piece of information added and it is there. Next, you have your team info. These are just optional. So team, professional title, slogans, designations, and credentials. Next, we have your military affiliations. These can be even if you are a spouse or you are a family member, any of those. You have your bio here, phone numbers. Again, these are required. Your email address. Another one that's going to be super important that is not required, the website. You will want to make sure this is here. Again, some email templates do pull this piece of information and you may get an error if it's missing. When you're plugging in those websites, it does need to be the full URL. So you want to go ahead and plug that into your search bar, grab that full URL and plug it in. If you're using a KW website, you will not need a www. In fact, most websites do not use those anymore. So just a piece to note. Couple of questions here. This recording can be found on our YouTube. I'll drop that link in the chat again in a little bit. If you're licensed in more than one state, that is a great question. There is one field only for that. However, if you are licensed in two, you could put a secondary license number here, kind of just creating a little space there. So, a couple of options there. Moving back down though, next we have our Market Center information. So your Market Center specific logo, this should be for your specific office. If you're not familiar with your Market Center logo, you can find that by clicking this KW Connect hyperlink, and that will redirect you to kwconnect.com. Now, once you're there, you can scroll down just a little bit and find a search bar right here. This is where you can search for your specific market center. So you can type in the numbers for that. Let's just type a random number. Now that I have that pulled up, you can verify this is the correct office I'm looking for. You can preview that logo, and you can also download a folder to your computer. And that folder is going to have all of the different color options available. So it's going to have different formats and color options. There's some black and gray ones, some all white ones, things like that. So great place to come for logos. You'll have your other Market Center information. So name, office phone number, address, and then if you have the Market Center license number, you can add that as well. Moving down, if you have any compliance that needs to be added to your marketing profile, you can get those added here. Whether that is text, links, or images, they can all be added. If you're not sure if you're in an office that requires specific compliance to be added here, you can always check with your Market Center staff. They should be able to let you know and provide you that information. Now, right below compliance, you'll find social. So these are going to be your social media links. So if you have a Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., you'll want to grab the full public-facing URL for those and insert those here. For example, Instagram, you're not going to want to just grab your handle. You want that full public-facing URL to insert here. This allows people to click on those on your website and be redirected to your social platforms. Lastly, we have Google Analytics. If you have set up Google Analytics, you can include that tracking ID here. If you don't have that set up and you would like to, you can always reach out to our support email. We're happy to help you guys with setting those up as well. Once you're done updating all of your information in your marketing profile, you can go ahead and hit that save button. It will let you know that everything has been saved. Usually these updates are updated throughout your platforms right away. However, your app or your website may take 30 to 72 hours for those to update everywhere. So just keep that in mind if you're seeing a delay with any updates. Usually they're fairly quick though. Now that we've covered the marketing profile, we can go ahead and move over to our actual design. So we're going to go ahead and go to designs. We'll go back to home so we can start from a familiar place. Now, once we're here, all of our icons are on the left-hand side. We're looking for the one that looks like a paintbrush with a canvas behind it. You can also hover over that to see that it's called Designs. And you can also expand this menu bar by clicking that red and white KW at the top. That will let you see all of those different applets and their names. Close that back up. Now that we are in our designs dashboard, you'll see that we have a few different designs here. Now yours may look a little bit different. In fact, you may not have anything here at all. And that's totally okay. These are designs that have been created within this command account. So if you haven't created any, you won't have any showing up just yet. So these are all of our previous designs. You can search for designs. You can filter them based on what you're looking for. So if we're just looking for email designs, we can also sort those by oldest to newest or newest to oldest. We can import designs, create new. We can also change the view that we have here, whether it be table or tiles. Now we're going to go ahead and do create design today. And again, for today's class, we are focusing on emails. So we're going to select email. Now, social and print, those are going to have a lot of the same templates. Video is kind of on its own, and so is email. So very important you select email when you're trying to create an email campaign or an email template. I'm going to go ahead and hit next. Now, once we hit next, we are brought into the templates that have been created by Keller Williams International. Now, there's quite a few of them. You can use these, of course. You can edit these and make them whatever you'd like. You can also create your own brand new template. Now, we are going to start by creating our own template from scratch. We will come back and take a look at one of these templates just to kind of show you what that looks like. But for now, we're going to hit create new. Now, once we do that, we are brought into the email editor. This is where we can name our design. So I'm going to do newsletter. As you can see, I do this a lot. So we're going to do January. And this is an internal title. This is only for me to see. Nobody's going to see this when I use this template. So you don't have to worry about it being named anything great or whatever. Just name it what is easiest for you. Now, moving along this very top bar, we also have options. This is going to allow us to preview our design. We can also send ourselves a test email. We can also download the template here. Now, to the right of that, of course, we have a save button, we have save and close, and we have the close out button as well. Now, moving to that next bar, we have a few different views that we can see the template in. So we have the desktop version. We have the iPad or tablet version, and then we have a mobile device. So it's going to show us what that's going to look like when someone is viewing it on any of those devices. Now, there is not a way to manually edit it to look different yourself on a desktop versus a phone. So you just want to kind of take a look at these and make sure it looks good on all of them. Next, we have view components. We have again the option to preview our email, so seeing it as the client or consumer would see it. We also have the undo and the redo. Now to the right, we have our blocks. This is going to be the different content pieces we can include in this. And then we also have the option to adjust the background. Now with the background of your email, you can change the color of it. You can insert an image, whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to keep ours white for today, but if you are wanting to change the color, you could just click on that, drag this around till you find the color you want, and it will adjust that background. Just keep in mind, some colors may look different on different devices. So that's kind of the reason I stick with the white. It's just cleaner and easier to see on everything. If you're looking to insert an image though, you just click that image. You'll hit replace, and that will allow you to either grab a photo you've previously used on an email design. You can grab a listing photo. You can also just upload your own photo from your computer. So a couple of options when you're doing that. Again, that's just the replace button. And then if you did grab one and needed to edit it, you can of course select that edit button. Again, we're going to leave it color. I'm going to leave it white for today's class. You can adjust the padding. I kind of call the padding a border. It looks like the padding around the item that you're working with. You'll see container padding a lot. So when you see that again, it's kind of like the border without creating a border, if that makes sense. There is an option for a border, which we'll also take a look at. Now we're going to head back to blocks. When you're checking out blocks, you have the ability to create a layout. So if you're wanting to create a layout for your email, let's say you want to have a box up top, you want to have a divider in between, and then maybe you want to have some columns. You want 2, you can do 3, you can also do a 3, 7. Now, as you can see, when I'm inserting these, I'm just clicking on the item and I'm dragging it over. That green line on the design is telling me where it's going to insert that. So if I wanted to add another one there. Now you're not required to use these blocks or columns. You can create your design without those. These are just an optional choice if you wanted to use those. Now I'm actually going to delete some of these. I like to create ours without the columns. We'll leave this one for now. Again, you can change the color of just that column. You can also add an actual border around it, and you can change how big that is. Now, as you can see, it has that border there. So border is going to create an actual color around it, whereas the padding is white space. So we can change all of that. Again, I'm going to leave this back at white for today. We can leave the border though, and we'll go back. Now we're going to close up the layout. And now I want to go through all of the other content options with you. So this is where we're going to jump into creating our own custom template. So let's say we want to add text to this column. We can go ahead and drag that text over. Let's say I want to call this January newsletter. It's putting that text into that box as I'm typing it. It readjusted the size of that box, or column, everything like that. Now I can change the width of that, which is going to make that box much smaller. Oops. Enter button got stuck here. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. You can change, again, that padding. Let's see if we increase this. See, as you can see, it's creating that extra white space around that item, so around the text. I'm going to leave this at 100. We can also change the color, the font, the sizing. So if we wanted to make this a different text, there's not a ton of text options, but there's quite a few. We can make that text bigger so it fits in that box a little better. If we want to make it bold, italic, underlined, any of those things can be done. We can also change the color here. So let's make it blue for January. I don't know about you guys, but we got lots of snow here, so I'm gonna go with something cold. You also have the ability to make it on the left, on the right, centered, add numbers, bullets, all of that can be added, as well as links and emojis. We are going to cover this merge field up here. We're going to come back to that in just a second though. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Now, after we have that, I like to always make sure I add my header and my footer. Now, this is where that marketing profile that we covered at the beginning of class really comes into play. As you can see, when I add that header and that footer, this information cannot be edited manually within the email design. This information is pulling from that marketing profile, and we cannot edit it except for in that marketing profile. So it looks a little broken. This is what the team logo will look like on your actual email if you were to send it out and not have a team logo in your marketing profile. So you'll see an image like this if you don't have one. That's why it is super important to have something there. Now we're going to go ahead and hit preview just so I can show you. It is actually pulling all of that information from the marketing profile. You can see what it looks like. I do like to mention at the bottom, it does pull the office address twice. There's no way to edit that or change that. It's going to pull that address for both of them. There's not a secondary office line or address line. So just keep that in mind. That cannot currently be edited. We can also, again, preview that on tablet. mobile device. Again, this is why it's super important to see what that looks like on mobile because it is going to change that layout. So just make sure that you still are okay with it and it still looks, you know, legible and everything like that. We're going to go ahead and go back. Now the next thing we're going to add is an image. Now again, I'm just dragging and dropping. Now, like I was saying before, the My Images, these are photos that we have physically used on another email campaign or template in the past. So these are not images pulling from my designs library. It's strictly photos I've previously used. Listing images, you can pull directly from the MLS. And again, if you want to add your own photo, you can do that by dragging and dropping or browsing your computer for that. I'm just going to grab a photo here to insert so we can see what that looks like. Now we've added one for ourselves. Now if we come over here on the right, we have the ability to link that. So if when someone is viewing your email, you want them to be redirected to a website, you can link that. You can add a landing page URL, a merge tag, or a web address. Now I'm going to go ahead and just grab the Scott Leroy website. We're going to link that. Again, we can change the width. That will make the photo smaller or bigger. In some cases, that may be the best thing to do when you're working with a mobile device, making sure it looks well on that. So just percentages there may help. That padding, again, if you want to add it, top or bottom, again, that is just extra white space above or below the photo. The center or position, if we want a border radius, things like that, all of those can be added here. Now, once we're done, we have our photo how we want it. We can go ahead and go back. Now, our next piece of content is our button. So let's say you wanted them to click here to sign up for your newsletter every month. This is just your beginner one. You can go ahead and link that, have them click there. They can be redirected to a contact form on your website and then have a smart trigger to set them up on a smart plan. You could just have a Google form, however you want to do that. Just a few options. You can check or change what that says. So I can put sign up here. And then I can link that to wherever I'm looking to link it to. Now I'm just going to use the SLM website again, just to have a link there. Now we have our button. So we can either fit the content, meaning the text that's in the button, or fill the container. That's going to fill that entire container. We can change the color of that. Let's say we want to have it match our blue up top. I can use that dropper and grab that blue. Make our button that exact same color. We can change that font, the sizing, text color. If you're interested in changing the text color, you can change that as well. Again, padding, if you want a border around it, all of those can be adjusted as well. So I always like to just mention my emails are not pretty usually. I'm just going over all of the content, so I would not actually send this out. Just fair warning. Once we're done though and our button is ready to go, we can go ahead and go back. Now we've already added the legal header and the legal footer. So next would be a listing block. So if we drag that and bring that over, this allows us to pull in a listing and plug in all of the details. Now we can auto-fill that from a listing, so we can pull that here. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this one at the top so I don't have to search for one. I'll just grab this photo. Now that I have that, it's pulling in all of the listing information. So the address, the price, the bedrooms, bath, square footage, all of that. Now I can still adjust it if something was pulled incorrectly. I can also put a link if I wanted them to be redirected to the website. Maybe this property specifically, and I created an open house sign-in sheet. Any of those items, you can link that and add that URL. Now your font can be changed here as well. If you want it to all be the same font, you can change the color. Again, padding, position, these are going to be throughout the entire design. You're going to see a lot of these. Now this one does have a layout option. So you can have your listing be vertical or horizontal. Now, when you have it horizontal, I just like to mention when they're viewing it on a phone, it is going to be vertical instead. So just make note of that. So when you're seeing that, it's not a surprise to you. Now you can add as many listings as you'd like. If you have 3, 4, 5 listings you want to display, you can add all of those. Again, it will have you add all of that listing detail. The autofill is great because, like I said, it pulls everything from that mail list for you. Let's do one more. Now, I just want to show here because we haven't really, you can change this to show all listings or just yours. You can also search by address, MLS, or KWLS ID. So to make it a little bit easier on yourself, it may be easier to search by the MLS number than the property address. You know, and delete that one though. Now our next content option is an event block. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this over. Now an event block would be great if you have an upcoming open house, if you have an upcoming client event, if your vendor's having a client event, whatever you have going on and you have an event coming up. This would be great to use. It includes a place for a photo. It includes a date and time, the title of the event, a description, and a button. So if you want them to RSVP for an event or sign up for something, this would be a great option for you. Now, you update each of these items individually. So if we were to do our photo, we're just going to go ahead and grab one. Let's say we have, it's still winter. Let's say we have an ice skating event. Let's do December 10th because that's this weekend. Or Friday, that's tomorrow. Let's do the 12th. Let's say we got 2025 and it's at 5 p.m. Again, you can change all of your information here, text, color, fonts, all of that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. We can then edit our event title. Let's say we have a client ice skating event. We can again change the color, all of that good stuff. I'm going to leave it. We can then add our description. I'm going to say RSVP below, please, and let us know. Whatever you want to put there. Now, while we're typing text, I want to go over this merge field with you, but I'm going to do it in an actual text box. So 1 second and we will cover that. Our last thing is just that button. It's exactly the same as the other one. It's no different. It's just included in this event. So you can change the color, apply your link where you want it to be redirected to. RSVP here, whatever you've got. Now, before we keep going, let's do a text box really quick, and let's go over these merge fields. So let's say we want to include our client's name. So you have a few options when you're using these merge fields. You have agent information. Again, all of this agent information is going to pull from your marketing profile. So if you're missing your Instagram link, if you're missing your office phone number, or anything like that, your bio, that information is not going to pull and you're going to get an error. So just keep that in mind when you're using these. Your market center information, again, pulling from your marketing profile. If you need to include your legal footer information, you can use that one. And then lastly, we have contact information. So contact first name, last name, their email, phone number, home anniversary, birthday by month and date or date and month. So you have all of those options. So let's say we want to do contact first name. I'm just going to leave it as this for now. I'm not going to type anything crazy. I just want to show you guys what it does. So we're going to leave it and I'm going to go back. Now, is this contact first name? To make sure this is working, you can hit the preview button. Now from there, if we scroll all the way to the bottom and we find where we have that text, you now have a search contacts drop down in the top right corner that wasn't there before. So when we were just previewing this without that, it wasn't here. Now that it is, we can pick a client's name and see that it is pulling that information. Now, the reason I like to show this, where you can find this and make sure this is working, when you send yourself a test email, you're only using an email address. So there is not a contact first name associated with that email address. So when you are testing it and sending it to yourself, it is going to say client first name. You're not going to see your name inserted there. So just keep that in mind. This is where you want to check to make sure that's working. You could send yourself an actual email to make sure it's working as well, but that test option is not going to show it. Now that we've covered that, let's go back to our content items. We have video next. Now you can insert a video. With these videos, it does need to be a public facing video. So it would need to be added to YouTube or a platform similar so that it is public. You can then go there and grab the URL. Let's say we want to grab this one here. I'm going to go ahead and grab that URL. I'm going to insert that in the video URL section. Now, when I do that, I still need to add a thumbnail for my video. So I still need to hit replace and pick a photo. I'm going to go ahead and grab one from my computer so you guys can see what that looks like. We'll go ahead and grab this one here. There we have our photo. Once you add it, you still want to click on it till you have that like bluish green box around it and hit replace. It will add your photo right there as a thumbnail. Now again, you can still adjust this other information, so the width, padding, all of that. And then you can test this when you send it over. And then lastly, we have a market snap. So let's go ahead and pull this in. Now our market snap is going to give us exactly what it sounds like, a snapshot of the stats in a specific area. Now you can change what it says. So currently it says neighborhood trends. You can leave that or adjust it. I'm going to come down here and grab the zip code really quickly. Now, once I put in a zip code, I have the ability to select different neighborhoods. So I'm just going to grab one today. Once I grab that neighborhood, you're going to see it's automatically updating those listing details. These cannot be manually edited. It's going to pull the information and it is what it is. So if you do not like the information that's showing, you would need to create your own image and just add an image. But we could go ahead and change what this says now. Let's do Park Lake and Highland Friends. And it will have a photo. I haven't seen it showing up the last couple of times right there, but when this sends out, it will have a map and show the information. I'm not sure why it's not showing here. It just hasn't worked the last couple of times. But that is your market snap. Again, you can change the text, the colors, the fonts. You can change all of this text and color down here. You can add your borders if you want. As you can see, it has a border now. All of that can be adjusted as well. Now, once we're done, we have our email created. If we wanted to send a test email, we can. Now it is automatically going to go to your KW email. There is no way to send a test email to a different email address. You would want to just actually manually go in and send that in order for it to go to a different address. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and close this though. Now that our design is done, you just want to do a quick preview again, make sure everything is good, and then you should be able to go ahead and start sending this out. So we're going to hit save and close. And then I'm going to go over how we're actually going to send this email, how we're going to create our email list and all of that. And then we're going to come back and look at one of the templates really quick. It shouldn't take too long. So if we want to actually go and send our email now, we're going to head to campaigns now. So it looks like a megaphone. And if you get an error like this ever, usually if you just refresh your screen, that will go away. Not sure why it pops up. From here, we're brought into our campaigns dashboard. Now within command, you can send different types of campaigns. You can send paid ads through your social media. You can do email campaigns, which are sent to your database. You can do direct mailers, so postcards that are sent, whether that is to your database or you're farming a specific neighborhood. You can also just do social media posts that go to your social platforms for people that follow you to see. Now we're going to be taking a look at email campaigns. So when we click emails, we're brought into that dashboard. From here, we have how many emails we've sent in the last 30 days. You can change that to see lifetime, year to date, etc. How many recipients during that time, how many opens, and how many clicks. Now you should see an orange bar here that says how many emails you have remaining this month. Every KW Command account gets 5,000 emails per month included with their account. If you're sending more than 5,000 per month, you can upgrade your account by hitting this little hyperlink right here, and it will take you over to update that. I'm going to go ahead and click that because I want to show you guys, and it's not going to work. One second here. We're going to go to settings. Now I just want to show you guys this command email. This is where you want to make sure you are set up and good to go. You want to hit manage. It's going to again tell you how many emails you have this month left to send. You can upgrade your subscription here. But I want to show you guys where you can adjust your sender name and the reply to email. So this is the name that will show who this is coming from, the sender name. The reply to email is going to be where if someone replies to your newsletter or whatever email you send, that reply is going to go to this email's inbox. Now, when these emails are sent through command, they come from an email that says agent, a bunch of numbers at mailer.kw.com. There is no way to adjust that email on the back end. They all will come from an email similar to that, but that reply to email is super important, and the sender name, because that will be what they're able to see and reply to. So just make sure you have those updated. Now moving back to our email campaigns dashboard, we have our previously sent email campaigns. We have the name of them, the status, the date they were sent, how many were sent, how many opens, clicks. You pick a goal. So what is the purpose of your email when you're sending this? And you can find that here. You can also edit a campaign or duplicate or archive. You can no longer edit it if it was actually mailed. So just keep that in mind, only draft mode. You can even click into these and it will show you how many were sent, delivered, unsubscribed, etc. You can see the name, the email, everything. So it gives you very good statistics as to who's opening your emails, and if they're being received well. I feel like I always get frozen here now. I'm not sure why. Let's go back. Now the first thing we do before we want to send our email is we want to manage our email list. So in order to send an email, you have to have an email list set up. Even if you're selecting all of your contacts in command, you're going to want to add them to an email list first. Now, as you can see, we have quite a few email lists. You can create new. You can have MailChimp lists as well as command mail. You'll need to switch back and forth for those because it will be different email lists. You can edit them and add more people. You can also just delete those. Now, if we want to create a new one, I'm going to name it class 19. We can search for specific contacts. We can select all. We can also search by tags. I think I have a tag for class. Let's find that one. Load more. Class demo. Now, one thing with tags, if you are adding new contacts to your database with this same tag, they're not going to manually be added to your email list. So every time you send an email, you'll want to make sure that the new people with that tag is added. So you have to update these lists all of the time. So just keep that in mind. If we use that tag though, you'll see we have all of our contacts here. You can scroll all the way to the bottom. If you see a see more, you can keep clicking that until everyone is loaded and then select all, and it will allow you to add all of them at once. Now we have all of our people selected. We have our list name. We can go ahead and create this. And we have a new email list now. So next thing we want to do is create. And again, this is an email today. We're just going to name it class 19 again. Our goal, I'm just going to do other because this is a newsletter. So I'm not specifically advertising a listing or event or anything like that. You're going to select if you're using the command mail platform or MailChimp. And then we're brought into create our campaign. So again, campaign name, this is internal only again. Nobody's going to see this but you. You have the account that's being used. your recipient list. So this is where you're going to grab that email list you just created. You can create it or edit it in here. We just find that we have less errors when we create it first. You have your sender name and your reply to. Again, you can edit those here. It's just easier to do it ahead of time because it's going to bring you back into that profile. The subject of your email, this is what they will actually see when they see your email in their inbox. And then you're going to select your design. Now we're seeing all of our previously created emails. This is the one we created today, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one. It's going to allow me to preview that. If I need to make any last minute edits, I can go ahead and do that here. I can save and close, and it's going to bring me back. Now I have my design selected. I can see it on the right-hand side, see my preview. I again have the ability to preview the email, send a test. All of that can be done here as well. Once I'm done, I can go ahead and send or schedule if I want this to go out at a later date. I can go ahead and select that I want it to go out Sunday. We'll just leave it at the time that it's at. And that didn't save because I didn't hit the button, but we can go ahead and hit schedule and it will go out when that time comes. I can also save the draft and come back to it. And like I said, you can send now as well. So I'm going to go ahead and save draft. Don't really need to send this. One last thing I want to cover before we jump back into the templates is when you're sending a test email to yourself, you're also not going to see an unsubscribe option. However, every email sent through command will have an unsubscribe at the very bottom of the email. So you don't have to worry about making sure that's included or anything like that. It will automatically add that for you. Let's go ahead and go back to designs for a second. And we're going to do create an email again. And then we have all of these different templates. So you can kind of look through these. They have ones for New Year, which you could change for any holiday, sellers, featured homes, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this open house one though. And we're going to hit next. And then once I'm brought in here, I can go ahead and start editing this. As you can see, it already has my header at the top. It already has some information. I can add as much as I want to this. So if I want to add videos, listing blocks, whatever, I can add all of that as well. However, there's this other box here that's in the templates that are not, they're not able to be recreated exactly. So if you like this and you don't want to use the template, just keep in mind, these are templates. If you want to delete everything off of this email template except for this and recreate your own with that and everything else, you can do that. But let's go through editing this really fast. So let's do Saturday, January 11th. We'll leave it at 10 to 3. That's no big deal. Again, you can change fonts, colors, all of that here. It's up to you. Photo, this is the same as before. We can replace the photo. When we're doing that, we can use the listing still. I'll grab this listing I had pulled up earlier. Got too many tabs now. Let's see, listing. Search that again. If it doesn't pull up, we'll just grab a different one. No big deal. Let's just go ahead and grab this one. We'll grab this photo. Let me grab this address though, so I know which one I have. Grab the front photo. There's our photo. We can go ahead and add our address. I'm just going to use what I copied. I'm not going to add everything else. You would need to manually know and add your bedrooms, bathrooms, everything else. I'm going to leave that for now. I can have a landing page to the property. I know this one isn't it, but let's pretend that it was. We can go ahead and link that here. We can change this. Again, all of this can be adjusted. And let's go ahead and grab my address again. Grab a couple more photos. Now, this is the different part about these type of templates. You're going to need to search your address every time you're pulling in a photo, unless you have them on your computer, which if it's your listing, you probably do. So you could just upload them that way. Let's just grab this one here, grab another one. It was just there, now it went away. Well, anyways, so there's how you grab all of your photos. Now this part here, this is kind of where we were covering before, all of the other information in your marketing profile that you may not have added. So if you don't have these pieces, you can delete them from here. You can also add other ones. You could technically create a text box like this within your own design, by adding all of these merge fields, but it is much nicer to just have it already created. If we preview though, again, if you're missing any of that information from your marketing profile, you're going to get an error usually, that it's not there and it's going to give you a failed error. Once we're all done though, we can go ahead and save and close this one as well. And if you want to go ahead and send this one out, it would be the same process. Um, that is our class for today. We are done a little bit early, which is my favorite because now we get to dive into your questions. So if you have any questions, drop those in the chat for me. We have, about 10 minutes or so to go through questions. Even if it's something we didn't specifically cover today, if you have a question, drop those in the chat for me. Let's go through them. I'm going to stop record so we can go through questions. So if you don't have any and you want to jump off, thank you so much for coming today, and hopefully we'll see you for another class. Have a wonderful day.